Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike, and we've got another Scream update for you today. And this one, it delves a little bit into the past. It clears up a couple things, maybe pokes a couple hornet's nest. Ouch, ouch, you're on my hair. Just the tip. One time, I promise. And it also leads into some future Scream stuff. It's always fun to do Scream updates with you guys, even if it's not always the happiest of news. I feel like we're getting over it, man. We're just at the tip of that hump, and we're almost over to the other side where it's just going to be nothing but excitement and happiness and glee, and we can just go back to everyone spoiling the movie with fake updates. I almost missed those times, Greg. Let's start with the downer stuff. And when I'm saying this, I don't mean Melissa Barrera herself, but Melissa Barrera did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter and spoke out about everything that had happened, so you just know that in that community of things, people are walking around with verbal versions of Molotov cocktails, not even verbal. It's like keyboard versions of Molotov cocktails and pitchforks and whatever other devices you can think of that probably don't feel comfortable in your orifices. Not sure why I went there. My point is this. You knew it was about to be bad on that little corner of the internet world that's not real life at all. Those people are going to get really upset. Angry fingers. Headbutting of the keyboard, as Dane Cook said. But the conversation goes through the entire Israel-Palestine stuff that I'm not going to talk about because I have no general right covering anything like that. We're just going to click fast forward on all that stuff, and then we're not even going to rewind it when we take it back to the video store because nah. So as we all know, Neve Campbell's coming back to the franchise, even in the midst of all the stuff with Christopher Landon leaving the project and with Melissa Barrera being fired and all the stuff that's gone on with that. This is Melissa Barrera's one of her first official times speaking about the incident since it happened. And she told The Hollywood Reporter, and something that's probably going to ruffle some feathers, when they asked her about Neve Campbell, they asked her if Neve Campbell had reached out to her at all. And it says that Barrera pauses before declining to answer. And then goes on to talk about her great relationship with Jasmine Savoy Brown and Jack Quaid, and even talks at length about her and Jenna Ortega and their relationship and how great that is. So she's not necessarily saying anything, of course, but I mean, we can all read between the lines just a little bit and see that that doesn't sound good. Now, this could have been written a certain way or whatever. You can look into it however you want to. It kind of seems like, oh, I'd rather not say fuck you, so I won't say anything at all. It's what it kind of comes off as. So it really doesn't do a lot at all to help the current situation of the Scream stuff and all that turmoil. Me personally, I've people may not like this, but I've moved past that. I'm just like, hey, it's a movie franchise. I love Melissa Barrera. I think she was great. I hope to see her in future Scream movies, and we'll talk more about that later, but I'm ready to focus on the fun of the franchise personally myself. But that was definitely worth saying. Other stuff came out about that whole situation, as well as radio silence supporting Melissa Barrera and saying in this article that they thought they'd be able to do their new movie coming up this April, Abigail, before doing Scream 7, and then still have time to go back and direct it. They wanted to direct it. But as they said, while laughing, we were exited by Spyglass. So that is you could have ascertained that's what was going on there. But now we know they wanted to wait and then make Scream 7. They wanted to be the directors of it. And Spyglass said, no, we're not waiting. Fuck you. Which is weird because Radio Silence are still listed as producers on the film, as far as I know. But as we know, Christopher Landon was named to do it and then left after the Melissa Barrera thing blew up. She also mentions here in the article that she has no idea what happened. And Radio Silence says that they commiserated with him a little bit after that, and I have no idea what that means. Does that mean eat bologna together at a school cafeteria? I don't know what that word means. I'm kidding, I do, but we don't know what they mean in that sense. So no one knows still why Christopher Landon left the project or what happened on the back end of that. We also know that they reached out to Neve Campbell's people about this and did not get word back. So that whole relationship doesn't sound great, but who are we? Who are we, Peter? Something could come out tomorrow and then be like, hey, we're best friends. That article is taken out of context. It sounds bad. I totally support it. That's a thing that could possibly happen. But as it reads like that. And the map says we're fucked. Now, talking about whether Melissa Barrera would ever come back to Scream, she talks about how much the franchise means to her in this, and she also says that I've learned to say never, but a lot of things would have to happen in order for her to come back. So obviously she's not taking it off the table, but I don't know if she means Spyglass would have to sell the rights. That is 99.9% never ever going to happen, or if maybe just like things tilt or someone moves into a different position or they make up somehow, or just there's an idea that's so good by Guy Busick and Kevin Williamson and everybody working that they just can't resist and they decide to work out their shit. Who knows? A little money goes a long way. An apology goes a long way, and I don't mean from her. She doesn't owe an apology to anybody in my I think that whole thing sucks what happened to her, even though I'm ready to like be like, okay, still time for Scream. It does. You can do that at the same time as being like, hey, she was awesome and that sucks. But moving on myself, Radio Silence definitely had an idea for Scream 7. They wanted to do a Scream 7 that specifically focused on the core on Sam and what they were doing. And they're disappointed that they'll never get to make that, apparently, as far as they know. But they also mentioned that, hey, that's why we made Scream 6 to end the way it did. We wanted it to feel conclusive, just in case something like this happened. And I'm paraphrasing here. You can see it for yourself. I'll put it on the screen. So, and just one more thing about the whole Neve Campbell situation before we move further. I don't think it's right for anybody to judge Neve Campbell for not doing whatever it is they think she should have done in this situation. I think that's her own personal prerogative, and she's not responsible for anyone else, just like nobody else was responsible for not taking the paycheck and doing the movie in 6 when she felt like Spyglass was screwing her over. And I do realize they're different situations for sure. It was a choice, whereas Melissa Barrera was fired and all that. It's a messy, messy situation. I get that. But Neve Campbell, again, is not responsible for anyone else. She has to take care of herself, just like, again, everyone had to take care of themselves and do Scream 6, even though they were going through stuff. So I don't think anybody serious is really judging Neve Campbell that much for it. You might see it online, usually from like anonymous profiles and whatnot, but I don't think anyone to be taken seriously is thoughtfully looking at Neve Campbell and saying, well, fuck her then. That's just my thoughts on it. Now, some fun stuff to talk about. Daniel Rickman, who's an insider, put this post on his Patreon a few days ago. And again, when it comes to like rumors and stuff like that, I usually don't even fuck with it, because when it comes to this franchise, people will listen to any like Waffle House cook or dude at their local grocery store and just to put out a topic to get views, run with it. You know, we don't do that here, but this guy is legit as hell. I'm not saying that every single thing he says turns out to be true, but I am saying that most people take his stories with a little bit more than a grain of salt. Did I do that right? Did I get that backwards? You know what I mean. It's a rumor, but it's enough for me to talk about. And you know, we don't usually talk about that stuff here unless it at least seems like it could possibly be true. Anyway, the point is this. He says that they are looking for 3 new leads for Scream 7 to work alongside of Neve Campbell. And they're supposed to be in their 20s and youngish and in their 20s. So what could that be? I mean, my mind goes directly to Stu. I don't mean them casting Stu, but if they did bring Stu back, and I know people are triggered by this, it's all right. Have a Coke and a smile. It's going to be fine. Or some Coke. Just whatever your thing is. Maybe take it easy on the Coke, actually. I've seen your responses on the internet, and they're not okay. They're unhinged. But for us Stuthers out there, to me, it would make sense. Obviously, they could be 20-year-olds doing anything, but I think it would be rad if they were part of the Stu cult, people that had a hand in what was going on with the Core 4 and all the other stuff going on, and it all ties together, and he has been running things behind the scenes, and these could be some of his minions, some of the people that he's, you know, gotten online message boards and like recruited and shit like that. I think it's cool as hell. Don't at me about the Stu stuff. I have a whole theory. It makes sense. I swear to God, it does. Check it out. But if that's what you believe, that's fun for me. Other than that, he also said that Gail was a lock to come back, that Courtney Cox is a lock to be in the movie, that she will for sure be in it alongside Neve Campbell. So I think we expected that, but who really knows? And also, Mark is in talks. Patrick Dempsey, this is not surprising to anyone. I think we all assumed this is what was going to happen as soon as Neve was coming back. But Mark, who was in Scream 3 as the detective, Patrick Dempsey's character, is in talks. He is in talks to be in Scream 7, which just makes total sense. He's probably asking for a lot, because you know that he knows that script probably hinges a lot on him. So I'd be like, you better pay up. I want more than Neve Campbell. Could you imagine? People would be so pissed. Anyways, I'm not pissed. I'm happy. More Scream, more fun stuff to talk about. How do you guys feel about all this stuff? How are you feeling? How's your life going? I love your fucking faces, and we'll see you guys soon.
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness.
I said, God damn. God damn you, faggot!
Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS.